leave early. Say like I've got to get to a class at 3 o'clock, so I got to leave at 2:30 or whatever. If that's the case, we got to know about it. You'll probably have to bring your own vehicle out when we go out to the unit so that you can drive yourself in, because we will not be able to drive you in to headquarters here or Bushnell, whatever. It's on your own. We're conducting the fund. I can't give up a vehicle to bring you in. So you have to, you're responsible for your own transportation of vehicle in and vehicle out. And the other thing is, boy, you know, I love tank tops and all this stuff, but it's just not the right thing to wear when you're out running. So don't wear these stuff that you wear down to the mall. And keep it in mind that even in, see, this is just a plot bone, and he's hot. We do provide gloves and other equipment if necessary. That sometimes people, particularly with the smoke mask, they don't need them; they just get them automatically. I would ask that if you don't need a smoke mask, some burns are smokier than others. Some of you really do need them. And other times people just put them on because that's part of the equipment. They have to be cleaned every day before they're used again. So it's just one extra thing that the staff has to do if they're used. A little bit about the equipment. For the old timers that notice something seriously wrong with this picture. And this, because this is before the trailer was painted. Red units go clockwise, this unit's going counterclockwise. But we have the color code, the units color coded, a blue truck and a red truck, and a blue trailer and a red trailer. Red trailers go clockwise, blue trailers go counterclockwise. And on here, we have 4 drip torches on the back of the trailer. We have the long hose, the short hose, the big hose, drinking water. In here, the snacks, gloves, helmets. And in the back is extra kerosene, and, diesel and gasoline. So each of the tractor units are so equipped, and the truck units are also equipped, not quite as heavy. They only have 2 drip torches, but a short hose, a long hose, big hose, and then here will be the equipment, gloves and helmets, and on the other side will be the gasoline and diesel. Diesel. The way we normally do it is that we have a tractor and a truck going in both directions, one clockwise and the other counterclockwise. Tractor almost always leads. Tractor is responsible for knocking out the initial fire line. With short hose, the longer hose follows up behind to make sure everything is out along the fire line. Truck units follow up behind the tractor unit. Their job is to make sure there's no smoldering units that come through this into the fire guard. Sometimes you have mice nests that are smoking here, or pieces of wood, making sure everything out near the edge is out. Then the most important job, and it's not evident on this picture because we're setting a flank fire, and so the fire's coming off that way. When we're setting the back fire, the fire's coming up this way. We've got this unburned area over here. So the most important job for these people that are on the truck unit is to continue looking over this side and making sure nothing has jumped. Because when you're setting up and the backfire flames coming up, there's always a possibility of something jumping. And the sooner it's noticed, the quicker it can be got out. And these first 2 units are really concentrating upon getting this out. So these people are the ones that are responsible for always looking over to the other side. Truck drivers. Back in the old days, it was tough getting truck drivers. Nobody wanted to drive a truck. Then we started getting the docents involved, and they said, yeah, they can drive stick shifts. And so nowadays, it's not nearly as tough getting a truck driver as it used to be. But besides being able to drive a stick shift, my truck drivers are in charge of the two-person crew, or maybe three that are associated with that. The most important criteria for my truck drivers, and they know this is just in case my regulars don't show up and I have to recruit somebody else to drive the truck. The most important one is gotta be near a radio. And it's happened before. Very frustrating for us to be sitting up here and saying, we need a truck, get up here, truck. And the truck driver's out looking or winding up the hose or something and not paying attention. You've got to be able to respond quickly if we yell for you to be able to respond. And so it's not an issue now, but it has been, and so that's the only reason why I mention it, in case we get somebody new. We have 2 hoses with each unit. We have 300-gallon tanks, and it's very easy for people to grab a hose and then see how fast they can empty the tank. And I'm a real stickler on using water very judiciously, because I can guarantee you, if you ever have a wildfire, you always run out of water before you need to. It's always better to finish the job with water in the tank rather than having to stop and go refill up again. I'm a firm believer in judicious use of water. When we have these big flames coming up, setting them from backfire, it's very helpful to put this hose on fan spray so that any of those sparks doesn't blow over to the other side. Fan spray doesn't use much water. It's just when you put that sucker down and just constantly hose down. This is Greg, the better side.
Hey, the camera does add 10 pounds.
It's very easy if you're on the long hose to get that sucker stretched out, particularly if you're going up and down a hill. And then you're dragging 100 foot or so of hose, and you don't need to be. So what we like to do is to keep them with hoses wound up whenever it's necessary, and only have the length out that you need. Because if something happens and this tractor actually move in a hurry, kind of widen the hose up. And the longer the hose is out, the longer time it takes to wind up. So that's just one of those things. When you go down hills, normally the hose goes out full length. It's just when you get to the bottom or to the top, wind back halfway up or so. The other thing is tractor drivers are pretty conscious about watching this, but sometimes the hose can get under the tires. If it does, it can delay us. So then we always got this issue of the yin-yangs who can't keep the tangles out of the hose. I don't know why that happens. That happens. It slows you down. Our torches we call strippers. This was Ramona. She never had to use a torch. Everybody else has to use a drip torch. Drip torches is our main equipment, like John, the red one, the new one. This is what they look like after a few years use and being ran over a few times by the tractors. The most important thing on the drip torches is using the fuel in a smart way. These have a valve to control the amount of fuel and an L valve on them. These valves loosen up. And so sometimes it's always helpful to keep an eye on watching how fast that fuel drips out. But it's called a drip torch for a reason. It's not called a empty out a specialty can torch. It goes drip, drip, drip for a reason, because that's all you basically need. And so anytime, if you're running stripping jobs and you're running fuel's just gushing out, shut that down a little bit. You need to be able to get more than 20 minutes out of the drip torch. So you shut the valve down to lower the flame. The most important thing, a lot of people want to run drip torches, and others don't, they're afraid of it. But we would like to teach you to run drip torches, just to overcome the fear. There's nothing to be afraid of except me yelling at you. And I will yell at you. The most important thing is, if you're running a drip torch, and we say, okay, get out of there, the first thing you do is turn it up and blow it out. Never carry a drip torch into a fire guard that's unburned or an unburned area next to us. Never. You will get yelled at and squirt with water. It's a good way to start a fire in a hurry. Always blow that sucker out. Now, the two things you need to learn about that. One is if you're wearing a helmet that has a face mask, better raise a face mask to blow it out. And the other thing is there's a couple things you don't do when you face the wind. And one of them is don't blow out a drip torch because there's a fuel on the top of that asbestos pad. And if you blow it out facing into the wind, it's going to blow those little droplets right on your face. So you can either hold it, blow it out that way, or you can use a glove and smother it out. But do not carry it into the fire guard. Okay, we do our files, we do a lot of backfiring. Backfiring is to establish a black line so that the fire doesn't carry through to the other side. Once we set a head fire here, make this black line be enough so that it will keep it contained. Oh, there's a lot of stripping that's involved. This is when people really get involved in running strip torches, stripping it to ensure that this is a wide black line. The general rule of thumb is like half the distance of the black. So, so this person, half the distance of this black, we making a strip this wide. Well, this guy's probably, I can't tell, this guy's probably not wide. But anyway, we will frequently yell at people, say you're too wide or you're too narrow. It all depends. If you've got a really lot of fuel, you don't want to go too wide. And you're setting into a backfire, you don't want to go too wide because it's going to be kicking a lot of flames and heat on the tractor and truck unit here. But as you get further away from the edge, you can go wider. The whole key is that you're not going too wide and risk throwing flames over to the other side. So don't take it personal if you get yelled at because you're too wide, because we do it all the time to everybody. Yell at them that they're too wide or too narrow. Here we have gravel roads to help facilitate setting backfires. Here we don't need to worry about putting anything out because that gravel ain't going to burn. So it makes it real easy to burn backfires. Most of our watersheds, however, just have low fire guards, and it takes a little more effort to make sure that we have a nice black line. Later in the spring, I got to talk faster. Later in the spring, the fire guards get really green. They can be deceiving. There's a lot of dead grass in those green fire guards, and they will carry a fire through. So just don't assume just because it looks green that the fire won't go through it. They still have to be doused with water. Okay, first stripper. This is what the only exception to the drip torching rule. The first stripper, I want it running a continuous stream because we are setting fire and we don't want a gap here, gap, gap, gap. Because as we're putting out the backfire, we're following along with the tractor unit. We want it to be solid, and if there's gaps here, we've got to set and weight on it. Those gaps here. So the first torture has a continuous unit of fire. These secondary torches, these are when, see, this is a good example. Drip, 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 drip. And that's fine, because it'll fill in, and the wind carries us through here, that'll be filled in. No big deal at all. They don't need to be running through as much fuel as this one will be.